Good morning, everyone. Here's your Southeast Idaho weather planning briefing for the last day of January here in 2019. Things are going to get interesting, and we're going to be welcoming some wet weather for February. The satellite picture this morning shows we have a layer of low pressure near California. That's not going to bother us. We have this ridge overhead now. The ridge is going to shift over us in the next 24 to 36 hours. This huge mess out in the Pacific, that's the start of the wet weather that's headed our way. And it looks like it's going to last all the way until at least the first couple of days of next week. Now, what do we know? Storm number one gets here late Friday night, early Saturday morning. And this is going to be a warm storm. Snow levels peaking at around 5,500 to 6,000 feet. That means below that, we're going to have some rain on snow again. So we're going to have to watch out for some ponding, maybe a little bit of sheet flooding as well. Heading into Sunday, we're still going to have to worry about rain and snow places like the Magic Valley, Lower Snake Plain, some of the valleys south of the interstate corridor between Burley and Pocatello, and it's going to be wet, sloppy snow elsewhere. Even on Saturday, higher elevations, that's going to be a pretty wet snow. Because of that wet snow, blowing and drifting impacts will be limited, and that rain and snow chance continues through Tuesday at least. Now, what we're not confident about yet, some more precise rain and snow totals with this first storm coming through, but we'll look at some preliminary numbers here in a bit. Rain and snow amounts beyond that period, and the next best chance of precipitation. It's going to be off and on early next week. There might be another bigger chance coming by the time we get to, I'd say, Monday into Tuesday at this particular point. Now, timing-wise, we're going to show you tomorrow afternoon right around 5 o'clock, there's not a lot going on across the area. We get to Friday evening, a little bit of light precipitation moving into the central mountains, but by the time we get to right around lunchtime Saturday, we've got plenty of moisture falling across all of eastern Idaho at this particular time. Now, this is looking at some different snowfall amounts and methods here for that first snow event coming through. We are looking at a little bit, again, of light snow around the Sawtooth right around 11 p.m. midnight on Friday. Saturday morning, light snow starting to spread to the east. I think most of it's going to be in the central mountains and also down in the South Hills and Albion Mountains. Anything farther east will be very, very light, may not even be reaching the ground. Some light snow falling in the Wood River Valley, and also you can see we're also putting it side by side with the amount of rain or melted snow that's coming with that, and you can see that moving into the central mountains. Now, the time we get to right around lunchtime Saturday, we're looking at, I'd say, maybe 1 to 3 inches of snow falling in the Wood River foothills up into the Sun Valley area, Galena Summit, Stanley. Spotty snow elsewhere. Rain at lower elevations, and some of those rain amounts during that period, borderline a tenth, maybe a little bit more on that, and that may be just a bit high, at least early on with this event. As we can go into Saturday afternoon, still some pretty good snows, and you'll notice this is a good snow event initially, upsloping into the Wood River area, the Arco area, up towards Island Park as well. Again, another 1 to 3 inches of snow, maybe a little bit more in those areas. Also around the big holes, there's another 1 to 3 inches of snow possible there. And rain amounts generally around a tenth to 2/10, but in those areas where we're also seeing the higher snow amounts, some of those rain amounts could be over a quarter of an inch in a 6-hour period. So that's pretty significant. Now we'll go on to the period going into Saturday evening. This is a little different methodology. Through 5 p.m. Saturday is where we do our official snowfall amounts and when we do those grids for the forecast. Beyond that, we're going to show you one particular method that can be used for that, and it may be just a little bit overdone, especially Saturday evening. Again, pretty good snows for the Wood River Valley area up towards Galena Summit, also into the Island Park area, the Eastern Highlands. I think we've got a little bit too much snow going in the forecast along the Bear River Range, but that'll change into Saturday morning. Again, mostly rain at lower elevations. Again, a lot of these areas seeing 1 to 3, maybe 4 inches in a 6-hour period. Rainfall amounts definitely increasing a tenth to 3/10. Some of those higher elevations could see over a quarter of an inch of rain during that period. And here we go into Sunday morning. Snow starting to let up in the central mountains, a little more snow for the Arco Desert, but still rain down to the south and most of the lower elevations. You can see another 2 to 4, maybe a little bit more. Again, places like the Big Holes, Pine Creek Pass, Island Park, the Bear River Range, the higher elevations over around Grays Lake in that area as well. And those areas could also see another quarter inch of moisture falling. Now, again, at lower elevations, that's rain. Higher elevations, that's going to be snow. And as we go into Sunday, you can see the snow starting to let up and the rain starting to let up. But again, a lot of the lower elevations, even where it's showing snow on these maps, expect that to either not really fall as snow or a mix, or that very wet, sloppy snow that is going to melt during those particular times. Now, looking at some precipitation numbers for our snow through Sunday afternoon. Most of the higher elevations looking at about 8 to 12 inches of snow. Some of these areas maybe 12 to 14 inches, but you don't see a lot going on once you get outside of the lava beds and the Arco Desert. A lot of these areas, not a lot of snow falling at lower elevations again, because snow levels peak at around 5,500 to 6,500 feet. If you're looking at some of where the cities are, where the people live, again, some pretty good snows in those central mountain areas upsloping into the Wood River Valley. Again, not a lot of snow expected at lower elevations. And the rainfall amounts, you can see right along the interstate corridor, there's a little bit of downslope, especially initially with this event. So lower amounts there, maybe a quarter to half an inch of rain. And again, it's not going to necessarily be widespread. In some cases, it's going to be a little bit higher in one place, a little bit lower in another place. But again, half an inch to an inch is not going to be out of the question. And some of these higher elevations where it's going to be snowing, it's a wet snow, some of those areas could see an inch and a half of moisture through Sunday afternoon as well. And like we said, it's going to rain and snow even more than that. We talked about the blowing and drifting snow conditions. You hear some of the winds going through Saturday. You can see where we got the downslope along the interstate corridor, but again, 25, 35, maybe 40-mile-an-hour winds. If this was a dry snow, we're talking about some pretty good blowing and drifting conditions, but not at this particular time, I don't think. Those winds let up a little bit into Sunday, but they wake up again Sunday afternoon as we get a cold front to move through the area. And we're going to quickly run through the temperatures. Like I said, not much going on until we get to this storm. For this afternoon, temperatures where we get some good warming, it's going to be at or above freezing. Still in the 20s to near 30 across the Arco Desert, where we have a little bit of an inversion up in the upper part of the plain. Warmer temperatures for tomorrow. Burley's going to be in the mid-40s. It's going to be 36, 37 in Stanley, and that's actually going to continue throughout this event. So even in Stanley, it could try to rain during this storm, so that means it's a pretty warm storm. Saturday, temperatures near 50 in Burley, backing off a bit into Sunday, and temperatures will remain on the warm side until we get till Tuesday or Wednesday. Then we get that cold northwest flow back into our area. Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe out there, and make sure you stay tuned to the latest forecasts here for Eastern Idaho. It's going to be messy heading into the weekend.